Hello everybody and welcome back to another special here on Dr. Ghost Games. I am Dr. Ghost and I make content for the game World of Warships Legends if you guys are new here. So yeah, we're going to be talking about the history of the USS Indianapolis, and if we have enough time we'll talk about what the ship is capable of as well. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. So the USS Indianapolis CA-35 was named after the city of Indianapolis, Indiana. She was ordered on the 13th of February, 1929, and she was laid down on the 31st of March, 1930, and she was launched on the 7th of November, 1931. She was commissioned into the United States Navy on the 15th of November, 1932. And yeah, she had 10 battle stars, so she did participate in a lot of battles, such as the New Guinea campaign, the Aleutian Islands campaign. She escorted carrier Yorktown. She escorted even the Lexington. She did a lot of coastal bombardments. She helped land troops. She had a very, very impressive service record. Now keep in mind, we're going to talk a bit about the ship here. She was armed with 9 8-inch 203mm 55 caliber guns in a 3x3 configuration. She had 8 5-inch 127mm 25 caliber anti-aircraft guns, and she had 2 3-pounder 47mm 1.9-inch saluting guns. She had pretty okay armor for the time, and yeah, she weighed about almost 10,000 long tons, and she was a pretty damn big cruiser. Now, so as you guys are probably aware, like I said, she had a very, very impressive service history. She was in a lot of battles, and you guys could probably look at other videos for that. I don't have a lot of time to talk about all the battles specifically she was in. However, I do have some time to talk about the most famous part of what the Indianapolis was known for. And yeah, so without further ado, let's talk about it. So in 1945, the USS Indianapolis was sent on a secret mission under the direct order of the President of the United States. She was supposed to carry nuclear components from San Francisco to Pearl Harbor, and which she did. She did deliver those nuclear components. She stopped at Pearl Harbor, and then she went to Tinian Island, where she did deliver the nuclear components. From Tinian Island, she went to Guam to drop off sailors that were relieved of duty. And as she left Guam on the 28th of July, 1945, and she began sailing towards Leyte, where she was supposed to join Jesse B. Oldendorf's task force. He was a vice admiral, and yeah, so the Indianapolis essentially dropped off the nuclear components for the atomic bombs that were used on the Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And after that, she was supposed to go join Task Force 95 under the command of Vice Admiral Jesse B. Oldendorf. Now, unfortunately, she did not reach that task force. She was sunk at 0:15 on July 30th, 1945. Indianapolis was struck on her starboard side by 2 Type 95 torpedoes, 1 in the bow and 1 amidships from the Japanese submarine I-58, captained by Commander Mochitsura Hashimoto, who initially thought he had spotted the New Mexico-class battleship Idaho. The explosions caused massive damage. Indianapolis took on a heavy list, and therefore, since she had a lot of gun-firing directors that were put on during the war, she was very top-heavy and settled down by the bow, and 12 minutes later, she rolled completely over. Then her stern rose into the air, and she sank. Some 300 of the 1,195 crewmen aboard went down with the ship. Jesus. And with few lifeboats and many without life jackets, the remainder of the crew was set adrift. Keep in mind, about 900 people were out to sea, and only about 100 of them came back alive. It is, it's quite sad. And keep in mind, guys, that that there was a lot of shark attacks too. The Indianapolis sank. The 900 people that were in the water got constantly attacked by sharks. And actually, here's a picture right here for you guys. But yeah, this was a painting done by somebody, and yeah, it's pretty damn accurate, I believe. It was, I believe, the deadliest shark attack in American history. We don't know the math, but there was probably hundreds of men devoured by sharks. Just think of the horror these guys had to go through. Not just with the shark attacks, but they had no food, no water. They couldn't drink the salt water. It was probably dreadful. Very sad. But fortunately, they got lucky when a PBY did spot them and did land and picked up about 100 of them. But like I said, Out of the 1,195 that were on the ship, only about 100 of them survived. Now, actually, believe it or not, the captain of the ship did survive. Captain Charles B. McVeigh. He did live, and he was court-martialed in the 1940s, almost in the 1950s. He was found guilty of hazarding a ship, although even the Japanese sub-commander, he came to the court trial to testify, and he said even if Captain McVeigh was doing a zigzag pattern, he still would have taken the torpedoes that the submarine did send. So no matter what he did, he was still going to take those torpedoes regardless. And still, the U.S. wanted a fall guy, and they did convict him of hazarding his ship. And he was sentenced. So he wasn't sentenced to anything, but he was found guilty. And yeah. And unfortunately, with the guilt he felt, all the way up, he got letters and stuff from people saying how he wished he was dead and how that their Christmases were ruined because their sons were killed by him. A lot of people accused him of things, and with all the guilt that was on his shoulders and all that stuff, he did die by suicide in 1968 using his service-issued Navy revolver. McVeigh was discovered on his front lawn by his gardener with a toy soldier in his hand, and a revolver that he used to kill himself in the other. He was 70 years old in 1968. But it's just a heartbreaking story. Not to mention, guys, the people that all had what they had to go through, the crew, the shark attacks, and not to mention, guys, for the Japanese end too. The Indianapolis delivered 2 atomic bomb components, and those components were used to kill about 500,000+ people. It's a very, very sad story all around for everybody involved. But yeah, that's gonna be about it for the history, though. It's a very sad story, but you know, I felt like I needed to say it. But anyway, let's talk about now what the ship is capable of in game. Now, the USS Indianapolis in game, or the Indianapolis, I'm just gonna call it the Indianapolis now, or the Indi. That's actually its namesake in history, believe it or not, the Indi. But yeah, so the Indianapolis in the game is actually quite good. Of course, it has the all-or-nothing kind of armor scheme. It has no armor in the bow or stern, but it has some pretty good belt armor, but don't depend on it. High-caliber AP shells will rip this ship apart. However, this thing has some very, very good 8-inch guns. Very, very good 8-inch guns. When I mean very good, I mean the kind of 8-inch guns that will Citadel battleships, if you can get opportunities to. I have Citadel once before. I Citadeled a Bismarck at 12, 13 kilometers once. It might have been 14, but I did Citadel Bismarck once or twice. This thing's AP is nasty. It is a cruiser killer. Let me tell you. Anytime you guys got opportunities to take broadside shots at cruisers with AP, even at like 15 or 16 kilometers, take them. Like, this thing's AP is disgusting. The HE is also pretty good because it is, of course, heavy cruiser HE. And yeah, it will do a lot of damage. It has a pretty good fire chance, and keep that in mind. So now my build on my cruiser, believe it or not, is a stealth build. I have a stealth build radar cruiser. So when I'm detected, essentially, I can radar and spot whatever is detecting me, and that power is so good. The ability to spot whatever is spotting me, basically. The ability to stealth radar like that is just unbelievable. Like, not to mention, guys, 9.6 kilometer concealment on a heavy cruiser. Oh my god, like that's crazy. And keep in mind, guys, there is radar on the ship. The radar does go out to 9.9 kilometers. So it is very good radar indeed. Probably the best at the tier, to be honest. Now, you guys can pick up this ship right now in the store. It is on sale. That's what I did buy. I did buy it because it was... Oh, no, actually, take back whatever I just said. You cannot get it. It was available last week, unfortunately. So... yeah, but there are some pretty good deals either way in the store. If you guys want to go look in the special tab, there are some pretty crazy deals in the store right now. But I did manage to get this ship for about 8,000 doubloons. So, yeah, so unfortunately you guys can't get this ship for 8,000. It is 12,500 doubloons in the store. But, yeah, it's got great guns. It's got really bad armor. It's got really also... I gotta mention the maneuverability of the ship. This thing is very, very, very maneuverable. The rudder shift is very excellent. Even when I'm not spec'd into it, it still can turn on a dime. It's very nice. And as you guys can see here, we're dodging these carrier attacks like it's nothing. But, yeah. So, we're just gonna continue sailing, and I think all we have to do now is take out that carrier, and we win this game. We have all 4 of the capture zones. Our team has done pretty well up to this point. We have done pretty well up to this point, not to mention we've got a few citadels. We got a couple kills as well. We've got a bit of damage. Hopefully, if we get this Wesser... Now, let's see what this AP does, guys. Watch this. Watch this AP wreck this Wesser. Ready, guys? Look at that damage. That's just penetration damage, not even citadels. Oh, my lord. The American armor piercing, guys. We're going to do it again to him. So we're going to wait for the reload and hopefully going to smack him around. And, yeah, we got about 3 penetrations there. We still are wrecking them. Now, keep in mind, our AA is popping off. Now, the AA is not the greatest on this ship. It's about 53 AA strength. It's not the greatest for American cruiser, but it still can do okay. It still does have those 40mm Bofors. And now there's the Citadels, by the way, guys, on the carrier. But like I said, guys, the AP on this thing, even on broadside battleships, if you aim a bit higher, is disgusting. But yeah, that should be the final salvo there. I hope you all did enjoy this special video. Yeah, if you guys did, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. And yeah, also, thank you to everybody who did serve in the United States Navy and who did serve on the Indianapolis. And rest in peace to everybody who did serve. But anyways, peace out. Stay healthy, as always.